Welcome to another episode of High Proof Ashes. I'm one of your co-hosts, Jason JB Smoke. And as always, my partner over here.
Y'all know what it is, man. I'm Duran, no cool nickname, but y'all know what to do. Leave it in the comments if you got something that you think might fit. I'm here for it, or not. We'll see.
I'm just going to start putting no nickname in quotes underneath your
Yeah,
name.
Bro. You know, it is what it is.
I mean, just keep having fun with it, you know?
Again, I've said, I think my name is pretty unique. So, when I introduce myself, I'm like, Duran, like the group Duran Duran. Or if you're from, Hispanic descent, it's like the boxer Roberto Duran.
There you go.
Whatever.
Yeah, that's good, man. That's good. All right. So, we just continue to bring you new stuff.
Yeah, man.
I mean,
that's what we're here for.
Just continue to bring you new stuff. So, for today's cigar, we are going to do something relatively new in our world, but I think they've been around a little while. Actually, I should have looked up how long they've been around, but we are going to do the Crux Limitada. So that's C-U-R-X, Crux Limitada. This is a boutique brand and one of our newest local shops. Shout out to Scenic
City.
They are stocking this brand, and I believe they stock the complete line. And one of the things that I found really interesting about this brand is they are made by Placencia.
Yes.
Except for one. One of them is made by AJ, but the rest of them are made by Placencia. And, Placencia is, I'm a big fan of Placencia.
I am too.
But one of the great things about the Crux line is the price.
Yes.
They're much cheaper than the Placencias.
Absolutely. Because the Placencias can be...
We're talking half the price.
Yeah, Placencias can
close.
range 15
They're over $20.
To,
I don't know. They have like one or two things under $20.
$20, yeah. But
so
they can get up there quickly.
Yeah. I mean, these all range from they're like $12 to $14, something like that.
Yeah.
Depending on size and which one you pick. But this is their Limitada, their limited one, if you will. They make 1,000 boxes a year. I don't know if it's 1,000 boxes per size or if it's just 1,000 total, but 1,000 boxes per year, and it has become one of my favorite of this brand. So this is this particular one is the 575 by 54. So you're talking almost a Toro, basically a Toro, but it's a box press.
It's a box press.
You know how I feel about box press. I love box press.
I feel like when I'm feeling it, it's a little weird. Like I don't know, what
you mean?
Like so, it's definitely box press, but it's
it's not heavily box press.
Yeah, like something.
Not heavily box press, but I do love the box press-ness of it. And I mean, it's really really nice color. I'm sorry I didn't look up the blend pre-episode, but nice smell on the cigar.
Yeah, nothing overwhelming. Like it doesn't.
Nope. But I think they say that this is a medium to full cigar.
Okay.
And their cigars are really good. I'm really impressed with the brand so far. So, but our spirits for today, we've got a few interesting things here for you. So one is this Russells Reserve straight rye single barrel. Comes in, I believe, at 104 proof.
Okay.
Which is a little low for a single barrel.
Yeah.
But I think it's pretty good. You can see it's about half gone. And then you've got our other spirit.
Yeah, we've got the Pursuit United Rye, which is a blend from Maryland and Kentucky brands. I like it quite a bit.
And this is their newest offering.
This is the newest offering, right? So they have the bourbon and they have the rye. That's what they're known for. It comes in at 108 proof. And my guy, give me a second, I got to go back to the messages here because I forgot just that quickly. He told me how long it was aged here. So it's about 5 to 6 years.
Okay.
On the aging. Price point, $65, I want to say, somewhere.
Yeah,
there.
I think this was 70.
Yeah, somewhere there.
This is the oak collection.
Yes.
So this is not their core stuff, right? So they have a rye and a bourbon in their core line.
Right.
And then this is their newest offering, which is the oak collection. Yep. And they have a bourbon and rye there as well.
Absolutely. And of course, these guys have a fantastic podcast, right? So if you're into bourbon, Pursuit podcast is something you should definitely take a look at.
Yeah, definitely.
So and hopefully we'll get one of their ambassadors on one day. Our guy Ray. to give us some more in-depth knowledge about what Pursuit is. But we're going to taste them both today and see how they fare.
Yeah, but let's get into the cigar, man.
Absolutely.
This is, as far as shape and size, one of my favorite shapes and size. I love box press and I love a Toro. Gives me a little bit longer smoking experience. One of the great things about the cigar journey is just trying new stuff, I think. And I know Duran tends to stick with what he knows. But
Not recently,
but
man.
I love recently that he's been branching out and trying new stuff. And, Scenic, one of the things I love about Scenic is I would say somewhere around half of their humidor is boutique stuff. And I really enjoy that. I love that aspect about their business, and that they're, not trying to compete with the other shops in the area. They stock a lot of stuff that you just can't get, anywhere else in the area. But
so I tell you, the Footlight, surprisingly light.
yeah, it's definitely not a full-bodied cigar. And I think this is another cigar that tends to progress pretty well throughout the cigar as we keep going. It's going to get a little bit stronger, a little more flavorful.
Yeah, for sure.
They did a pretty good job not to overwhelm you, at the foot.
I like it though. I like it. Like it's got a very creamy taste right off the light of the foot.
That's probably why I like it so much.
Yeah. Right. Really, really, really just mellow, tame, creamy taste.
And they have a Lancero version of this that's amazing.
I may not have cut enough. I'm getting a little bit tougher draw than I want.
Okay. I mean, thing about cigars is they usually have two caps, so you can, you can always cut it again. I may actually need to cut again as well. So
good smoke production, right? Like, so I can see the whisk of smoke. A little bit uneven, but that may just be me. So we'll see if it evens out. Yeah, we'll see if it evens out and go from there. What you drinking?
I think I'm going to go with the Russells first.
Okay.
The Pursuit is finished.
Yes.
So this is unfinished, and it's a single barrel, whereas that's a blend and finish. So I'm gonna go with this. This should be a little less. I don't know if I think of a good word there, but unfinished, single barrel.
Right.
Not as high a proof. Well, that's only
be a little bit rougher around the edges.
Right. And I don't remember how this one really compares with the bourbon version of the single barrel. I know it's lower proof.
Let's see what we got here.
It's got a really nice nose. And we talked about this before. One of the interesting things about Turkey is they only have two mash bills.
Mash bills, yep.
Right? They got one for bourbon, one for rye.
Yep.
So we've had the rare breed. We've had the bourbon and the rye rare breeds. And it's interesting to me that the flavor profile on these, even though it's the same mash bill, it's completely different.
Yeah. So the nose is good on this. I like this a lot, right? Like, so like initially it didn't, like burn up the nose for me.
It's really light on the nose. There's no...
The burn's not there that you normally expect to get.
Get a little bit of that rye spice.
I was literally about to say it's definitely more traditional rye.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a crazy, rye spice, but it's definitely there.
Yeah, for sure.
If you, I've visited this bottle a few times before now. Even though I'm not a rye fan, this is enjoyable.
Can we really say that at this point, though?
I mean, the heavy rye, right? That heavy rye spice. I mean, because I've had some ryes that are just like you can, I mean, it just blows the nose out. It blows the palate out. It's just so much rye.
Yeah.
You know, so I prefer the muted ryes. I think the smoother ryes.
Yeah. Don't disagree at all. But I think this one has a good flavor. Not as viscous as I expected it to be. Right. So it's a little less viscous, but
I think that has something to do with the lower proof, right?
Yeah.
I say lower, it's 104.
It's 104, so it's still, you know, it's still pretty good.
Yeah.
But it's enjoyable.
But like if I compare this to say the like the rare breed rye, I mean I think the rare breed rye is better.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
And it's more attainable.
Yes.
This is pretty hard to get, and I don't know, you know, maybe you guys can help us out. I don't know that there is a Russells Rye like non-single barrel.
Now that I think about it, I don't
know that I've ever seen that.
I don't know that I have either.
Like there is a regular bourbon for Russells, but I don't know that they have a non-single barrel rye. I mean, the way that if you read the bottle, it acts like they do. So maybe they do. I've never seen it before. I'll be interested to try that. I wonder how that might compare to the regular Russells, you know, the Russells bourbon.
I went ahead and did a little bit deeper cut, man. Like I just
felt like you need a little bit
more.
Okay. We'll let mine go for a little bit. Did it open it up at all?
A little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
A little bit, but it's still a tougher draw than
you want.
Than I want, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm getting a little bit of a deviated burn there. Like it's a little weird. A little. We'll see. We'll let it ride for a minute, and if it doesn't clean up, I'll touch it up just a little bit. But overall, it's a very good tasting cigar, right? Like it's nice and smooth and creamy. Like nothing jumps off the palate.
No, you're right. The flavors are very balanced and somewhat muted. Nothing really shines.
Right.
Maybe the creaminess, but beyond that, not much else.
And this is my first time having this one, so you know I'm trying this for the first time. So you're getting my real reactions. There's been no other attempts at this one, so I will tell you I do like the band, man.
Yeah,
like
so
it's minimalistic, right? So very minimalistic. But I'm more of a modern when it comes to fashion and you know. Furniture and architecture. I'm a modern guy, right? So I like the minimalistic approach. So we've got, looks like I want to say it's a black band, white lettering with some gold inlay. Limitada is boldly stated on it. The LE in the middle is very nice. One thing I do like is, right, so there has some cutouts right here.
Yeah,
around that band. Where
it does. It's a single band, but
there's some cutouts where you
little
can
windows,
feel,
right?
Yeah, you can see and feel the cigar. So that's kind of cool, right? That's unique to this. I don't know that I've ever seen that before. So that's very cool. And then on the back, if you take a look, they've got the big Crux symbol on the back there, in gold. So very well done, man. Like very simple. Like I said, very modern, but looks great. It's attractive. It's an attractive band. So, you know, that would probably lend to me taking a look at it in a humidor.
And one of the interesting things about the box delivery on these is half the box is singles and the other half is 5-packs in little cardboard boxes.
Okay.
So you can you know, if you wanted to get more than one,
yeah,
right, you can get this. It's just a little 5-pack box thing. And so, you know, I think that's pretty unique.
Right. So I will say the construction is worrying me just a little bit, right? Because
not getting a clean burn.
I'm not getting a clean burn, and I wouldn't say that I've hit it too hard at this point. How's your burn looking?
You know, I don't. This isn't the first one I've had, but it's a little bit rough, a little bit tougher than I want.
Okay.
And so I'm gonna do the same thing you did, and you know, this is one of the benefits of doing a shortcut that first time. You can open it up just a little bit more.
My lighter wants to be a hater. There we go. Thank you. So as you can see, I'm just tapping mines up, which means I'm trying to keep the flame as far away as possible and just hit those areas that weren't burning well. Just try to get it all in line, and we'll go from there and see what happens.
Yeah, if I recall, this is one of those ones that you even though it's a full-on Toro size, you really can't go very long between puffs.
Okay.
Like, this thing is kind of like smoking a Lancero, where you really have to visit it.
You got to stay on top of it.
You got to visit it quite often. You can't set this one down. This isn't one of those high combustion cigars. You know, so you got to do a lot of little puffs, which, you know, for some might not be very enjoyable. You know, they don't want to have to just constantly.
Yeah, that's my so.
Going at it.
Even though I do smoke very, very fast, like, I don't like a cigar that I have to maintain a lot, right? Mm-hmm. So if I do put it down, I want to be able to go back to it, and it's still ready for me to go. Because I normally, if I put it down, I'm not putting it down for a long period of time, right? Like, I'm putting it down to get a drink, you know, whatever.
Couple minutes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I hear you there. You know, so I guess that's one critique on this particular cigar, and maybe even the brand. You know, if the other lines are similar to this.
Mm-hmm.
But how you liking the rye there?
So going to my second drink, the rye spice is still there.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, right? I hoped it was going to mellow just a bit.
I have to say, I like the aroma more than I like the taste.
Me too.
You know, it smells very similar to the rare breed, but it doesn't taste similar to it, which is, I was talking with someone about that recently, about how, you know, especially with turkey, like some of these, you know, like the rare breed and the Russells are very similar in proof and age. There's not much difference between them. And so my question was, like, how can they taste so different? And the answer was simple: location of the barrel.
Right. Higher, lower.
No, particular rick house and a particular floor.
Mm.
And Russells has actually caught on to this, and they sell specific rick house Russells.
Okay.
That people are looking for something from that specific rick house.
Okay.
And looked it up, and those bottles are not cheap. Talking $250 to $300.
Okay.
You know, so but if you want a bottle specifically from, you know, to get that flavor profile,
you're gonna have to pay for it.
You're gonna have to pay for it. But I guess it's gonna taste different than this, because that's a single barrel.
Yeah.
You know, so
which is it's still enjoyable.
Oh, yeah. Like, I'm not knocking it.
If you're a rye person, like I think this would, and you enjoy the rye spice, right? So it's an acquired taste. You would definitely enjoy this.
Yeah. It's enjoyable.
Yeah.
Like, this is, because it's not crazy high proof, this is something that you can.
Yeah, because if this came in at 120 proof.
Yeah. You can definitely just, you know, bring this to the table and just sip on this as the night goes by, as you smoke your cigars, and, you know, you're not gonna feel it. But
and I think so. So realistically, if I was pairing this again, right? So, like, let's say I wanted to do the Russells again, I'd probably go with a stronger cigar. Just to be completely honest, right? Something that might cut that a little bit more, right?
Yeah, you want something that's like got just some punch to it.
Yeah.
You know, or some, like, I go to the Bella Ortiz.
Yeah.
Like, that is, you know, whether you do the Lancero or the regular or even the Maduro, like, they all have some spice to them, and it would probably lend itself well to this.
So again, like, I think this is an enjoyable cigar, and I don't know if it's a one-off, but the draw is bothering me.
Yeah, you know, this is probably my fourth of this, something like that.
This specific cigar, or this
specific
brand?
Cigar?
Okay.
No, this specific cigar, and I'm getting, I don't know, this one is, I'm getting what you're getting. Like, it feels a little tight. I'm not a big fan of the combustion that's going on here. I don't like having to, you know, continually revisit it, you know, and just kind of keep it up. And I hate that we're not having a great experience on the podcast, because I've had these, and
you've had a good experience.
Yeah, and they're really good. I mean, the first one I had, I was like, oh wow, that's really good.
Okay. So again, remember, these are handmade cigars, right? So, you know, there can be imperfections,
and you can't be bummed out from a bum stick.
Yeah,
you know, that's what I call them, right? You know, sometimes you get a box and one or two of them in there, like, they just don't burn right. They tunnel. uneven burn, it's a tight draw, like whatever it may be. So like I tell people, if you have a cigar for the first time and you get that kind of experience,
you got to do it again.
Yeah, don't write it off.
Yeah,
have it again.
Do it again
from a different box.
Yeah,
whatever. And then if you get that same experience, okay, fine, it's not for you.
Yeah,
but you definitely got to revisit it.
I agree. I definitely agree. So I'm gonna finish up my Russells and move to the Pursuit, and see how I feel about them both.
Yeah, I haven't had these two like back to back, if you will. So I'm interested to see how they fare. So price point, we've already said the Pursuit is about 70. I think this was it was like 65.
Okay. So really close in price.
Really close, yeah.
All right. And this is not a one versus the other.
No.
Okay. Let's make that clear. I think when we taste them, we'll see that there are big differences between the two, right? Like, but
they bring something different to the table.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. If you're a fan of turkey products, I think you'd really enjoy this Russells. I'm a fan of the Russells.
Like, it's got a good, even though the rye spice is there, there's a sweetness that makes it really enjoyable.
And if you're smoking heavy,
it would make it even better. I feel like it would make it that much better.
Stand up to the cigar.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, see, I'm getting that uneven burn like you're getting.
So there's just something going on there. And I'm going to be honest, I'm a little worried that I haven't touched mine for probably a minute and a half. I don't see any smoke wisp there.
Yeah, see, I'm having to take like 3 draws to really get it to produce something.
Yeah, the smoke production is not where I want it to be.
And like, look at,
Yeah.
See, I'm getting this uneven burn.
And this is a experience killer for me, right? Like,
yeah,
that's one of those things that I'm not a fan of in cigars. Like, having to overwork to enjoy it. Yeah, it should be effortless, right? Like, I should light it and be able to enjoy it. If I have to, pick up the cigar and think about what I'm going to do with it next, like, oh, I got to take a couple of pulls because it's not drawing the way I want it to, or it's not giving me enough smoke production, or the burn is a little iffy, so I need to tap it up, that's a problem for me.
Yeah, so this is, personal preference. It's like we don't want to have to do all that.
No. I want to kick it with the peoples that I'm there to enjoy my cigar and bourbon with, and, not worry about, working on my cigar.
Yeah, I'm having to take like 3, almost 3 back-to-back draws just to like get it going.
And even still, with the couple of draws, I'm still not getting the smoke production that I would expect.
So I feel like it's just a combustion issue, I think. But flavor-wise, I enjoy it.
Yes, it's very good.
Flavor-wise, I enjoy it.
It's a little bit milder than expected, right? Like, for it to be medium, still fairly light.
Yeah.
Still fairly light.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree.
And again, I may just be being turned off by the experience that I'm having at the moment.
Yeah. And it could be, it could be there's just a hard spot in the cigar. And actually the top of the cigar is kind of hard.
You know what? I'm going to try your trick here, man. Like,
oh, let's do that. Let's take the band off. So, little trick. You're having a tough draw, whatever. Take that band off. Oh, look, this one came off clean. So I can kind of show like there's these like windows. Pretty interesting.
Yeah. I do think the band is impressive, man. Like, again, it's minimalistic, but it's still impressive. Nah.
Didn't help.
No.
Yeah, it didn't feel like it was on there very tight.
No, it was pretty easy to come off.
Yeah, it didn't help at all.
This isn't normal for us, right? Like we normally don't have these type of experiences with cigars, but I think you can tell by where we're talking that the cigar itself is flavorful, and the flavor profile is good, but the experience is a huge part of smoking cigars.
That's a big part.
Like, if to be completely honest, it might be the biggest part, right? Like if you're having to constantly stay on top of the cigar, then you're not enjoying the whole purpose of smoking it.
For us, right? So, we've talked about pipes before, right?
Yeah.
Pipes are a lot of work.
I can't do it.
And so like for us, it's just too much work. But for people who enjoy pipes, they don't mind the work. So there are going to be people who don't mind the work that they need to put into the cigar.
I mean, again, the ash looks good. Looks like my burn cleaned up a little bit, right? So it's not as crazy as it was after the initial touch up on it. So that's pleasant to see. Again, I just wish the draw was a little easier, and I wish I had a little bit more smoke production. That would be where I'm at. Let's see where we're at with this Pursuit United Rye.
Yeah.
So the nose is quite pleasant, very muted on the rye side.
It is.
That's more pleasant for me.
Yeah, the finish on this gives it an extra layer of complexity. Those, what is it, sherry?
Yeah, it's a sherry French cask. No, not cask. Oak, excuse me. But
you definitely still get the rye.
Yeah, but it's definitely not as pronounced as
it's not.
The Russells.
No, that extra layer of complexity, flavor that the French sherry gives it, that's mighty tasty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if I'm going to drink a rye, I want it to be more like this.
Yeah.
Right. And I specifically, like I tried the bourbon and the rye in the Pursuit, and I came away with the rye. Surprisingly, with us saying that we're not rye guys, I preferred the rye in this specific offering more than the bourbon.
Okay. But I mean, that's what's so fun about the bourbon journey. It's very much a matter of personal preference, and there's so many things out there that you can taste and really kind of rally behind, and things that are somewhat similar. You taste one, taste the other one, you're like, oh, I like that one better. But you go to somebody else and they're going to say, oh, I like the other one better.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, that's mighty tasty.
Yeah, like it a lot.
Do you like it better than their normal rye offering?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so.
Got that extra layer in there.
Yeah. The extra finish helps a lot.
Yeah.
But there are a couple of ryes out there that I would probably visit prior to. But I think at the price point and for what Pursuit is doing, great offering.
What I like about it compared to the normal rye is the finish is there, but it doesn't overwhelm the rye that's in the bottle.
It's a very balanced,
very subtle.
Yeah, it's very
addition.
Balanced and well done.
Yeah, because a lot of times these finishes are a little overwhelming. They kind of take away from the the bourbon or the whiskey that's in the bottle, and this one it's very subtle.
Yeah,
very, very subtle.
Yeah, it's well done. Like I said, balanced.
Yeah.
These guys have a formula that's working, so hope they keep at it. It's a young brand,
right?
So that's one of the things there. Like they can only go up, man. Like and I think what they have right now is very good. So we'll see. And as you can see, both bottles, it looks like they've been, you know,
they've taken some hits.
They've been tasted about the same, so, you know, pretty close. So yeah. The fight on the cigar is killing me.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed with that because I hadn't gotten it before, and I mean, you know, it happens.
Yeah, it's part of the game.
You know, yeah, it's part of the cigar. It's totally.
We're gonna smoke it, like, you know, we're gonna keep smoking, keep enjoying. You know, it's definitely not what I would like it to be, but you know, it is what it is. You know,
I mean, I had a Liga the other day that I kept on having to touch up.
Really?
Yeah, it just kept on going out on me. It was weird. I'd never had that experience with a Liga before, and it just didn't want to stay lit. And I mean, it's not like I was going a long time between puffs.
Right.
You know, it happens sometimes. You know, the blend isn't exactly what it should be, and you know, it's 1 or 2 leaves off. You know, whatever. So, like, and I see you're putting it down. I mean, that tells me something.
It's the fight, man. Like, it's enjoyable, right? Like, I don't mind the taste. I wish it was a bit stronger, but the experience is more than anything. Like, it just drives me nuts. Like, it almost feels like, you know, drinking a milkshake through a straw right at this moment, right? So, like, it's a whole lot of.
It's not quite as bad as the
no, definitely not that. Definitely not that. Definitely not that.
That one was so bad.
That one is just that experience I had that day, which I had never had before, and I had a pack of them, right? But that experience made me realize that, like, maybe I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I did. Because I do think because they were inexpensive, I smoked them on days where I wasn't really paying attention, like I was on the grill or something of that nature, right? And we all have those type of cigars, the inexpensive ones that
cutting the grass.
Yeah, you know, you're doing whatever it is you're doing, and you're not paying attention to the cigar. You're paying more attention to something else, and the cigar is the just there to help lend to the time, right? You know, so yeah, I think it worked for that. But you know, sitting here with you and doing what we do, right? We're podcasting this thing, you know, and definitely not with the Jose Piedra.
Yeah.
That one was it was a nightmare.
Yeah, that one was bad.
It was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. So this is definitely way more approachable than that.
Yeah. Way
more approachable.
Yeah, and like I say, you know, I've had this one before and not had this kind of trouble. So it's a shame that, you know, we're both having the same experience. So it may make people think that, oh, that's normal, but it's not. This came from the same little 5-pack.
Yeah.
You know, and it just, again, sometimes you're gonna have a tough draw, or you're gonna have burn issues, or you're, you know, whatever. But don't let that dissuade you from trying it again or trying new stuff.
Yeah, because again, it's not like I'm seeing any tar buildup or anything like that. I just think it I don't know if it's rolled too tight or what. Like, you know, it's not giving me what I want.
Yeah. Speaking of the tar buildup, like I had a cigar. I'm just remembering that I've probably had dozens of them, and I'm smoking it, and all of a sudden I get this bitter flavor, and I'm like, what the hell's going on here? And I touch the head here, and sure enough,
it's just sticky.
It's just tar. Yeah. And so, you know, I have to cut it. No matter how much I've cut already, it's like, all right, I got to cut.
Got to cut again.
Yeah. You know, and of course, as soon as I did that, it opened it right up. Flavor was back to where it needed to be.
See, that's the thing. So I'm pretty close to.
Yeah, I mean, we can't cut much more.
I can't cut. If I was to cut again, you know, I'd probably risk unraveling.
Yeah. And look, I have done it before where it's like, oh, you know, the hard spot is right here, you know, 1 inch down from the head, and literally gotten my cutter and just cut that inch off.
DJ Khaled cut.
No, it was worse.
DJ Khaled cut.
Yeah, it was you know, it was cut a whole inch off the top of the cigar, and you know, and then that fixed it. But natural product, handmade, you're gonna get, you know,
you're gonna get a few things,
you know, inconsistencies. But we're about at time here. Final
thoughts. Ultimately, this very well could be a one-off on this batch of this specific cigar. So don't take what we're saying as you shouldn't try it, because I do think the flavor profile of the cigar is enjoyable, right? And I trust my guys at Scenic City, so I know it's a good stick. Right. As far as the bourbons go, I'm leaning a little bit more towards the Pursuit United.
Agreed.
I think the complexities are just blended together better, and that finish on it makes it a little bit more tolerable.
Yep.
So with them both being in the same price point, I'm going to go with the Pursuit United. The Russells, I think, is a great offering, right? But if I'm going to drink Russells, but keep it all the way 100, I'm going with their single barrel bourbon.
I'm with you on that one.
Stick to that.
Which is crazy, because when it comes to like the rare breed, I definitely prefer the rye.
Go to rye. Yeah.
Like it's not even a question. And so I just think that's so weird, because like the only real measurable difference between the Russells and the rare breed is just the rickhouse and the what floor they're on. Like that's just crazy to me that it's that much of a difference.
Dude, like the little things that change the nuances and what we enjoy are crazy.
I'm gonna be honest, I have not tasted so much of a difference as much as I have between the Russells and the rare breed.
Yeah.
Like the location is so much more distinctive in the flavor.
Yeah.
With these 2 or 4 offerings.
Yeah.
It's incredible to me.
Yeah, I agree. I don't disagree at all.
But for me, so one thing I want to point out, it may be hard to see on camera, but I've got this like pyramid shape with the ash.
Yeah.
And that's not good. You don't want to have that, right? That means, So that means you're getting an uneven burn. There's something going on with the construction, something going on with the draw. When you're drawing the air into the cigar, you're not getting an even burn across the diameter of the cigar, and that's why we're having the experience that we're having. So I mean, like, look, he just ashed.
I just ashed, and you can see.
You see that? Like, you shouldn't see that. Like, that means that the middle of the cigar is not combusting as much as the outside of the cigar.
Yeah.
And that has to do with construction, and that's doing something to the draw. And that's why we're, and here I'm going to ash. I'm probably going to see the same thing. Yeah, so mine isn't quite as pronounced as his, but, and I hate that being the first time you've had the cigar. But this is a really good cigar. I've had it several times before. Really enjoy it. Really enjoy the Crux line.
Yeah.
If you've not visited the Crux line, find you a shop that's got them. They've got, I don't know, like 6 different cigars, something like that.
And if you can't find them, go online. Get you a couple. Try them out.
They're really good. They're really good, especially if you're a fan of Placencia.
Yeah.
So
because they come in at a much lower price point, and again, the cigar itself is flavorful. I don't want anyone to think that it's not a tasty cigar. Just we're having some construction issues, some draw issues, so that's lending to the experience, which is a big deal for us. So I think you can tell normally we're kind of energetic and but
it kind of it's a little dejecting.
Yeah, it put a little bit of a damper on it, but it comes with us being honest,
right?
So we're gonna give you the real, no filter, and that's what it is today.
And then as far as the spirits go, I completely agree with you. I think I prefer the Pursuit over the Russells, even though I'm a Russells fan. And unfortunately, neither one is more readily available than the other.
No.
I mean, they're both pretty limited. The Russells might be a little bit harder to find, but they're both not easy to find.
I think the Russells not the Russells, but the Pursuit will become more available.
They're definitely becoming more available as time goes on. This one recently came into the state, so we didn't have this one until very, very recently. But I'm with you. If I have to choose between the two, I think I'm going with the Pursuit.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
But let's
wrap it up. Well, you guys know what it is, man. Thanks for joining us on another episode of High Proof Ashes. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that little bell. Join the notification gang, Noti gang, as they like to say. Keep up with what we dropping, man. As always, I am Duran, no cool nickname, and my co-host.
I am Jason JB Smoke, and we'll see you on the next one.
Yes, sir.